So the way that we are pruning our plum tree and any stone fruit trees that we're gonna have on the property is with a open center. Hey guys, welcome back to Garden and Grease. It is the beginning of March and everything is starting to pop up, all the spring bulbs, and things are starting to get their little blossoms on them. And our plum tree is going to be soon to follow with that. So we want to get him trimmed up before he gets any blossoms on him. So you want to trim your fruit trees when they're dormant. Well, there's also a summer pruning that we'll do, but we want to do this first pruning while he's dormant. And he's been in the ground for 1 year, literally March of 2023. We planted him here. He was a 2-year bare root Stanley plum tree, and we named him Stan. So this is Stan, and this is Stan's garden. So if you ever refer to me saying something about Stan's garden, this is what I'm talking about. Now, Stan is his rootstock is a standard rootstock. So if we let him just grow, he's going to get huge. We don't want that. The reason why I got the standard rootstock, well, is mainly because the semi-dwarf rootstocks were sold out and I really wanted a plum tree. We wanted one of our first fruit trees to be a plum because plums produce fruit pretty early in their life. Anywhere from 3 years, they could start producing fruit on them. But a standard rootstock, as long as we prune regularly to keep him in the size we want him, as a sturdier trunk, and he's going to last a lot longer than a dwarf or a semi-dwarf tree. Anyway, so we're going to be pruning Stan for size management while he's still young. And when we do this, it's going to help thicken up his trunk and the scaffolding branches that we want to be his main branches. Now, they suggest you pick 3 or 4 to be your scaffold branches. Guys, it's really hard for me to do this. I am picking 3 that I prefer, and I'm also going to leave probably 2 more just in case if something happens to those 3. There was one that I had chosen last year that I wanted it to be one of his scaffolds, but there's some damage to it. So I'm going to be cutting that one, and it's reinforcing the idea that I'm going to leave a couple extra just in case if something like that happens again. Okay, the sun is really bright. I'm going to try to show you this. Here's some damage. It's cracking here. You can see that really well. It was a prune, and then from that prune, it had cracked down, and that may heal just fine, but I don't want to take the chances and calling this my scaffold and that happen later on in the future. It caused some issues. We're going to cut back to right about there to keep a little bit of a collar so it'll heal really good. I'm choosing limbs that are going to go in different directions. So I also really like this limb, but I have another limb here that came out from it. I am thinking that that may cause some stress because it is coming out so close to the trunk that may cause some issues. There was a really nice limb. So I'm going to choose the one right above it as one of my scaffolds right here. Okay, so you're seeing the entirety of Stan. I had done a pruning in summer last year to keep him in check. He got super tall, and that very first year of being in the ground, I wanted for him to concentrate his energy into his trunk. So what we're going to do is the height of him, I want my height to be roughly about here on this plum tree. His limbs and all of his growth is going to get much higher on here. And I always want to make sure that we can reach the fruit. rather reasonably, even if we have to use just like a two-step ladder type of thing. I'd really like to avoid that. So if I want to keep my height somewhere in here, I'm definitely going to be taking this top off. So I'm not going to count any of these limbs that are in here as part of our choices for scaffolding. So I want to keep this one. I love the direction. One here, one opposing it. Now I want one, which this is kind of north and that's south. And but on my north end, there really isn't any great options going exactly in this direction. I do have two that are kind of going that way, and I am going to just choose one of them. And then I want one coming towards my my south, essentially, below the area where I want my height to stop. And this is a really nice limb right here, and this budded limb coming off of it is actually going in a really good direction. This small one is too. It does have a small limb. Oof, gosh, that's such a hard decision to make. Oh my gosh. We have a couple of dry days, and that's why we chose today to do it, and it's really nice out right now. I want to show you, these are little buds right here on this main trunk. I hope you can see that. There's one on the back side as well. So when I make a cut, if there's a bud here or here, it's going to send that out as a branch from north. I'm going to go this way. Oh, here goes. Oh, oh guys, that broke my heart. Oh, that was so hard. Oh, there we go. I'm actually going to take cuttings from these little limbs, and even though it's not good rootstock, I'm going to try to root these in a pot in the house. All these little limbs. Oh, Stan, are you okay? Okay. Whew, all right. That was really scary, guys. All right, there's a close-up of our main trunk cut. I did it on a bit of an angle, facing this angle. That is south and that's north. So we're gonna come in and cut off this damaged branch right here. We're gonna get pretty close to leave him some growth so he can heal up right there. This cut right here, which I'm actually gonna cut back a little bit closer to the trunk real quick, just a little. I know, buddy, that was hard on me too. So sorry. Woo. So what we have really is, here's my definite keeper. Here's a definite keeper. I'm thinking that this one is going to be my keeper down here, but I'm going to leave this one just in case. So we'd have 1, 2, 3 definites. I'm deciding between those two. And then I want one back here. And this one's got a really weird angle to it. But I think I'm going to train it. I'm going to try to train it to come this way a little bit more. I really like that one. I would prefer it over the other little ones down here. So I'm going to work on training this one to come down a little bit and this one to come down a little bit. This one's probably going to end up getting pruned. Okay, looking down in on him kind of gives you an idea of where those branches are. But that's all the cuts I'm going to make this time of year, and then we're going to assess it. And so what we did here is kind of a modified open center. So the way that we're pruning our plum tree and any stone fruit trees that we're going to have on the property is with a open center. So the idea of the open center is that the light can get into the center, and we're doing a somewhat delayed open center so that there isn't stress on any one area. A lot of the orchards and a lot of the ways that they tell you to prune your fruit trees into a open center is that all of your scaffolds come out at the same area. But if you do that, you're putting stress on one part of the tree, one part of the main trunk. If you delay that a little, have one stem down here, one here, one over here, and one over here, you're taking the stress off of any one part of the trunk. So that is the method that we're going with. More sun and air can get into all of the limbs when we do it that way. And just think about this. This area right here of our yard is gonna end up being somewhat of a mini backyard orchard. We're gonna have semi-dwarf or standard stock trees, but we're gonna keep them all at a manageable level so that we can harvest all the fruit off of them. So I hope that was helpful for you guys if you're thinking about having a backyard orchard of your own or just starting with one tree. We will be doing other fruit tree videos on how to prune over the next couple years, not just stone fruits as well. Thank you for watching Garden and Grease. Hey guys, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the bell icon, and the like button. Thank you.